Now, as we said, it's all a hogwash set up by the British government for political ends. All the trains in the right position at the right time, on the right day of the week, of the right month of the year, and the right year where training exercises were going on, which led to 56 people dying and over 700 injured. And when we're saying 700 injuries, it wasn't just minor injuries, as there was in some cases, but major injuries, legs missing. Okay, it was diabolical what the British government will do. Okay, let's carry on.
On the left side.
10 years. This is 10 years on. Yeah.
On the left side. Sorry.
That, by the way, is what happens when you get a true event. The crisis actors that we've seen in Sandy Hook and Nice and Battleland and all the rest of them, they've not shed a tear. There's no emotions, not one, because they're going by a script. But this is a real life event, so don't pick and come back and say that this never happened. Yes, they've mixed up all the footage. The media and the government have done that deliberately to muddy the waters. You remember the buzz in Tavistock Square? If anybody cares to examine that, you will see on all the footage, as we've seen, that there's a buzz there that's being peeled back to the front, all the fronts rather being peeled backwards and over, as though somebody had got a can opener and can opened it. In all the footage, there's no roof on, but it's the same buzz, and all the seats are out all over the place. Same pigging buzz. Why give two different views of the buzz in Tavistock Square if it isn't for muddying the waters? To confuse people. Now, we've got a paramedic here from the United States who was visiting the UK at the time. A genuine man. He comes across absolutely genuine. Who was treating persons in the Hilton Hotel where they were transported. Those that could be treated upon site. Those that couldn't were put in ambulances. Let's see what he has to say.
Either been killed or trapped or otherwise incapacitated on the trains below?
Yes. In the one train at Edgware Road, one of the patients who I was dealing with inside the hotel described a large hole which had been below the floor, and I believe in the...
Pardon? Would you care to repeat that? Where was the hole?
A large hole which had been below the floor, and I believe in the process, one gentleman was either thrown out of the train or fell through the hole, but...
Went through the hole! He may have gone through the hole! How can you blow, again, a hole in the floor of a train simply by putting a rucksack on a seat? It's frigging impossible. And all the witnesses that have been coming forward 10 years on have clearly been told, like Joanne Hicks we've just seen, clearly been told not to mention anything but how you have coped and what you felt on the day. That we, the media, representing the government, do not want to know where the explosion took place. That's what they're told, clearly as day. I've been there. I've been there with these reporters. And they give the restriction, don't mention this, don't mention that. All we're interested in is the emotional side. In other words, to cover it up.
He was pinned underneath one of the trains. I believe he might have been run over. And
clearly, he may have been run over. It's awful. It was an awful business that the British government, for political ends got involved in. We could go on and on and on for hours pointing out things, but I'll say this. At 7:40, when the train to King's Cross was due, and according to the government of the day, the bombers got on it, the 7:40 train to King's Cross, and then when they got to their destination, dispersed upon other tubes. Okay, the 7:40 to King's Cross was cancelled that day. So how could they have got on that train and to disperse amongst other trains? But we ultimately come back to the one thing. How did bombs get planted underneath the floors of the trains? How? Now I've heard people say, oh, it's Mossad, blah, 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 blah. And that there was an Israeli ambassador or somebody, very important, was told not to go down to this underground on the day. And that must be Mossad. No, 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 no. British government officials no doubt spoke to the man, don't go down that tube, and veered him away, and he took a taxi to wherever he was going, and that tube blew up. You know, we've got to face pigging reality. We've got to face facts. We've got to face things as they are. The British government and its security services did this. Whoever they employed is another matter. We believe that, well, it's intimated, okay, that Charles de Menzies, you know, the chap who was on the tube and got shot by the detective, and he shouldn't have been shot. He could have been wounded and then taken into questioning. Why did he shoot him dead? He posed no threat. Charles de Menzies was an electrician. Could it be that Charles de Menzies was going to blow the whistle and he had to be silenced? So they made this story up that he was going to plant a bomb on the train, and he got his rucksack. And he went on the train. The detective flew over the barriers, went down, saw the lad, shot him dead to keep him silent. Was that what that was all about? Let's put it this way. Did that detective get sacked? Did he get prosecuted for murdering somebody? No, it just went away. Just went away. Oh, there's a hue and cry about it, but it just went away. That detective was immune. Why was he immune? Why? We've had officers attack members of the public and have been sacked for lesser crimes. And in fact, other crimes where they've been prosecuted and put in jail. The paper seller, for instance, who got beaten to death by a police officer who'd lost his rag. And he just saw this man walking along the street down by where there was rioting going on, and just leapt on him, beat him to death. There are many, many questions left unanswered, and they will be. But nobody can ever answer the fact why bombs blew up underneath the train. On the day, shortly after the day, there was a hour at work there, and I was told by the managing director to get my staff to observe a minute's silence for this bombing of the train and the buzz in Tavistock Square, and I said no. Whoa, he looked at me. Hey! I said no. And I explained to him why, and he still didn't cotton on. And I said to him, I said, I'll tell my staff, I said, if they wish to observe a minute silence, they can do so, but I will refuse to do so, because that is honouring the British government of what the British government did that day. And I am not going to give any honour to what the British government did, because to accept that terrorists did it is to accept that the British government have got clean hands, and I refused to do so. And I went down, told the staff, and there was a minute's silence around the place, and I went out. And boy did I get it in the neck, but I didn't give a damn. My conscience is clear. I'm not one of the sheeple. I'm not a keyboard warrior. Oh, I'll face it out. I don't give a sausage. If it's right, it's right. If it's wrong, it's wrong. And there's nothing in between. The British government killed its own people who pay their taxes to provide for the British government and their living. And this is how the British government thank the British people. It is a monstrous system. Monstrous. It will kill its own people for political ends. It will put them on the scrap heap for political ends, and when they're on the scrap heap on benefits, they then say they're scroungers. And there's British soldiers who have risked their lives in Afghanistan, kicked out onto the benefit system, and they say, oh, you're just scroungers. When the British government wreck the economy, wreck businesses, put in thousands and thousands of people on the dole, those on the dole then are called scroungers again. And we, the British people, pay our taxes for the British government to look after us. And this is what we get in return. I think maybe next time they do this, they, like the US, will not do it for real, but employ crisis actors the next time round. Because I think this, like as it was with the US government, it's really got to them. Not to their consciences, but to being found out, that they're afraid now, that there's so much information out there of what they did in these two instances, that another one would cause absolute uproar. Absolute uproar. Well, we'll leave it at that. So, you that say it's a pig in Oaks, forget it, matey boys. Forget it. It was real as the Twin Towers.